I grew up poor. I'm not ashamed to say I grew up poor. Anybody grow up poor? Nothing wrong with growing up in poverty. You learn things when you're poor that you would not know if you had money. When I was 7 years old, the family car was a 1965 Chevy Impala that was not a lowrider on purpose. We had a big family and a hoopty, man. Who knows something about a hoopty? Used to call it a jalopy. They call it a hoopty now. This car had no reverse because the transmission was messed up. You couldn't make a left turn because the steering column was messed up. Okay, you cannot make up jokes like this, all right? This is a testimony right now. I was 7 years old when we had this hoopty you couldn't even make a left turn in. But at the age of 7, I already knew that 3 rights equal to left. Rich kids didn't know that. My teachers thought I was advanced. You don't want to ask my dad for directions. He'd be like, okay, man, you make a right, you make a right, you make a right, you'll be all right. We were poor. For dinner, all we had was helper. No hamburger, just the helper. You know, it's hard to travel. You know that, right? It's hard to travel and be a good person. Anybody experience that, where you're trying your best to be nice and friendly, but the flight in today, I'm on the window seat. The plane was packed. And it's not the man's fault. He's a big man, the seat is little, but he had to sit right next to me. And he's pouring into my seat. It's not his fault. But before we even get in the air, he falls asleep. And by the time we're up in the air, he's snoring, and his head is on my shoulder. He's dead asleep. And I start elbowing him to get him off of me. And then I heard in my heart, what would Jesus do? Man, I didn't know Jesus flew Southwest. Kept hearing, what would Jesus do? Then I thought about it. I was like, man, Jesus raised the dead. So I looked at him and said, wake up! He got up. I do all these jokes about being Mexican, and I'm a grandpa. Where the grandpas at? Where the grandfathers at? You have grandsons from your son or from your daughter? From your son. They're going to carry your name on. I have 2 grandsons. My second son gave me 2 grandsons. But his wife is Irish-Italian. I got Nico and Nolan. They got my last name, but they're blue-eyed, freckle-faced little boys. I can't even take them to the mall by myself without an Amber Alert going off.
Subscribe to Dry Bar Comedy for even more of the world's largest collection of clean comedy.